Sorry about that, guys. Okay. I'm working with too many computers up here, guys. Okay. So I know it's still brand new. I personally think it's super cool. I think it's really interesting. But there's just, it's, you know, we're still getting there. All right. There's a few quirky things. So here's kind of what it looks like. And I'll give you a quick demo of it. But how to find it is inside of Teams. If you don't have the frontline worker policy applied, if you click the little dot next to the bottom of your Teams start bar, I don't know if that's got a technical term yet. Whatever this thing is over the bar on your Teams on the very bottom, the little dot. There's one that says shifts. Just click on shifts and then it'll pop it open for any shifts that you have available. Then you can create a shift for every team just by clicking the little dot, create shift. All right. And then that'll take you to where all your shifts are. Okay, so for you, those of you that don't know this, I show this to people and you're like, ooh. If you open your Teams app, on the bottom, you're going to see the little arrow that points down. If you pull that up, it's actually a little drawer, and it's got more apps in it. So if you guys didn't know, this is like the coolest thing when I figured this out. I started showing people, they're like, I didn't even know I did that. So it's all these new apps that people don't even know about, right? So if you open the Teams app on your phone, look for the little arrow at the bottom and just click on it and pull it up. It's like a little drawer. And when you pull the drawer open, Shifts is one of the apps that's in the drawer. Nifty, right? There's some other new apps too, but Shifts is the one that we're looking for today. All right. And then based on configuration, you can set it up where Shifts is on your primary bar at the bottom, but for most of you guys, it's going to be inside the drawer because for the most part, you're in a different policy. All right, so let me show you kind of how this works. I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes showing this to you. So I've set up, so see once again, if I go to this dot, I can click where it says shifts. And it opens an entirely different application. So it looks a lot, it's a calendar, right? It's a shift calendar. So I'm just going to kind of give you a quick overview of some of the different things. So first of all, you can store people in groups. And then you can name those groups different things. So say you have different team names, or maybe it's the morning shift versus the afternoon shift versus the evening shift, or maybe it's customer call centers and you have one group that manages one area and another manages a different area, right? Different types of calls, whatever. You can segregate your groups in certain ways. People can be in multiple groups, all right? So you can put them in one or more groups based on how you want to organize it. And then for each group, you can have this line that says open shifts. So the ideal way to manage this is that a manager would have all of their available shifts for that particular group. And then they would go in, and to add a shift, you just go in here and hover over it, and there's this little dot right here. You can either copy and paste a shift or multiple shifts. You can click this add open shift, and you'll get the dialog box to add an open shift. You can define what the times are. You can even give it color coding for you guys that like categorization. All right. You can replace the time label with a word or a term. So if you want to put something specific on it, just remember I told you everybody can see everything. So there's no hiding anything quite yet. So put what you want in there. You can put the open shift for any of the teams or the groups that you've created so far. So it'll just stick it on the top of that. Here's the really cool thing. You can actually put multiple shifts in at once. So let's say you've got a call center and you've got 5 day shifts. You can put in the day shift and then put 5 slots are available for this. And then as people fill those slots, it'll knock them down so that you've got all your slots filled, right? And that way if somebody calls in sick or somebody isn't done, you know how many slots you still have that aren't covered. All right, so this is great for coverage when you're talking about coverage. And then you can put any notes in that you would like for that particular shift. So maybe this is a special weekend shift, maybe it's a holiday shift, so it pays double, or you know, whatever it is you want people to know about that particular shift. Within each shift, you can add what's called an activity, which is a lunch or a break. All right, so you can go in here and you can basically define if there's a lunch or break, how long it's going to be, and whether or not it's paid. This matters because it goes into reporting. All right, that way at the end of the week or the end of the month when you're running your resource management reports, it tells you how many total billable hours those people have worked. All right, and then you can do a couple different things in Shift. This is probably the most confusing. You can save or you can share. So think about publishing, right? You can save it, like, so let's say we're updating the SharePoint page, we save it versus we publish it. So in Shifts, you can actually make all your stuff and save it, and then share it all at once to the team. Or you can share each individual component as you do it. So it just depends on what you want to do. In this case, I could save this, and then I could share it all out later when I finish everything, or I could share this individual shift out with the team. All right, so once you put that on there, it looks like this. And so now I have one or more, and see how this says 3 slots and 2 slots, I know it's kind of tiny. So you've got these slots that are open. See how, because I've saved these out here, but I haven't shared them out, there's a big blue box that says share with team. So basically it's an asterisk to say you haven't published this out yet. Once you do that, it'll share it out to anybody who is in your Shifts groups. All right. So then what you can do is you can basically go in here and say, I can edit the shift, I can add another shift, or I can assign any of the shifts that are up here to anybody that's in the group. There we go. And it'll automatically show me the people that are already in that group. All right. So you can't assign it to anybody who's not already in the group. So to have people in the group, there's this little add person up here, and you can add new people to the group. All right. But they have to be in the group for you to share the shift. That way you're not accidentally giving shifts to people who are not in that particular group or that particular team. All right. And then once you assign it, it'll just pop it on that person's calendar. All right. The really cool thing is once you start looking at the mobile app, the person who's assigned that can see their whole calendar. All right. They can see what's going on their calendar, which is really cool. All right. So, and this is the manager view. Remember the desktop app? Yes.
So since you're talking about calendar, does that correspond with Outlook?
Not yet.
I'm wondering if that might be an option to load it into Outlook.
There's a user voice suggestion for it that has a lot of votes, but not quite yet. Unless anybody knows something I don't know. I don't think it integrates with Outlook yet. I was looking at it Friday and there's a bunch of notes about it. But yes, I believe it will probably come very soon. All right, so we've got our people, we've got our teams, we've got our groups, we've got our shifts. The other thing you can do, like I said, is you can actually do like time off and things like that. So we go in here, we put this here, and then these people can actually request different shifts. So like say, for example, Jonathan wants my shift because he doesn't have a shift. And I want to not have to work my shift because I am going to go to my kid's soccer game that day instead, right? I can actually post my shift and say, I don't want to work my shift. Does anybody else want to? And he can actually go in and see the shifts that are available and he can request them to work them for himself. Right? So there's a lot of things that kind of happen in here. So then after you set up the shifts, after people are using the shifts, so there's a couple things I wanted to point out quickly. I told you there's a high level overview. I can do a whole session on just shifts. There's so much information here. But the key things I want you to know, so you can put the shifts on here, but then what I want you to notice is for every day, there's this hours up here. It tallies the hours that are allocated to workers at the day level and then at the person level. So if you see right under our names, you can see the number of hours that are for that time period, or whatever you have it set up as, Sunday to Saturday or whatever you want to, you can define that. But you can see I've got 18 hours is scheduled for under my name, and then 9 hours on those 2 days is what's assigned. And then there's more hours that are just available. Okay? They only show up in reporting once they've been assigned. I can look at this at the day level, so I can see my 24-hour schedule here. I can see the hours for that day. I can go to the week level and I can see every day within that week. I can see the week total and I can see the individuals down here. I can see the month. So I can see the whole month overview, which is really nice. And then I can also print this out if I want to. And then there's an export option as well. So as a manager, I can fill this whole thing out. I can print it all, or I can export it all, and then I can use it for analytics later. Yes.
What are the export options like to PDF? Assume it's not Outlook.
I believe it goes to Excel. I did this the other day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an Excel file. And I remember this being kind of goofy when I tried it the other day too. I think. Yeah, it's an Excel file. I remember having trouble with it. Oh, I know what it was. I think it puts it in the team. I remember testing this out the other day and trying to find the file. Share this out. Just so that goes away. So let's go back. This is under demo. I think it's in here. Maybe. Nope. I remember having to find it the other day, so I have to remember. I'll have to look and see where it goes. But yeah, it goes. I just can't remember where it dumps it.
We have a question or a comment.
Yeah.
Besides Outlook, it would be efficient if it integrated all with ADP or other type of timekeeping.
Yeah.
Is that a user voice?
Yeah, so there, on user voice, I saw a couple of API integration related comments. So they should go look at user voice and vote for those. Yep. Yes, and several comments around integration with API related stuff. All right. So you can print this, and then there's a couple of different options for settings. You can see, I know it's tiny, guys. You can see the open requests up here. This is how you copy the schedule. This is how you print, and then I have to figure out where that ends up going. Maybe.
Download.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I remember finding it the other day, and I can't remember where I put it. Yep, there it is. Goes to downloads. Yeah, I remember having to hunt for it.
Is there somewhere in the configuration and settings that you could change that default?
I don't know. I have not dug that deep quite yet. Yeah, so there you go. The nice thing is the reporting is actually pretty decent. It actually goes out here and gives you the entire schedule with all the details. It's a really nice report. I just haven't played with the details. Yes.
So we have a core team, if we have multiple locations that they would rotate between, can you put multiple locations?
Yes. So that's a good question because this is one of the things that I've been kind of playing with. So you can have, remember I said you can have multiple shifts. All right. So this right now I've just got one set up. You can actually go back into teams and you can set up multiple, so a team for every location. And then you could actually just go into here and you can make a new shifts for that particular team.
If you have one team and you have multiple locations.
Then you would separate into groups. You would set up one team, one shifts, and you could have groups by location.
You have one group, 10 and 5 locations, and they move, they could.
Here. That's okay. You can have it, so like, remember I said you can have people in multiple groups.
I think that too.
It's calculate.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it still calculates the groups. Oh, can you hit mute on something?
This is, yes.
I was working with you, Jeremiah, so much.
That makes you can invite us.
Anyway.
So, to create a new one, if you go, this took me a while to figure out too, is if you click this little hamburger menu up at the top of shifts, once you open shifts at the very bottom, this is all super intuitive, I know, super easy. At the bottom,
Yeah.
new schedule. Now, remember,
Another.
okay, so just like
That is not been paid yet.
you open up the name and you have
I
to
let you know, and I know.
you add a shift and then you actually.
He's out until tomorrow, and I
Okay.
know, because what happened,
There's like 2 nights that were missing.
right, because it's like, the website was one of the, so
First off, you mute yourself.
and so it's like, we went ahead and booked the other night.
Fix
So
it.
actually, April called them
Okay.
on Monday to say, hey guys.
Yeah, yeah.
We
I
wanted to
understand
schedule
all
a
that.
week. Yeah. So
Figure
there are
out.
two things I can check them. I'll just see if that invoice exists, and if so, we'll forward it on to accounts payable. Wire transfer, sorry.
That's fine.
I've got a note
They-
that tells me.
it's fine. They, well, they. All that happens is
Email guys.
I'll like.
okay, that'd be great. 'Cause I emailed her, but I think she's out.
Cool. And if I don't see that, then she'll be back tomorrow,
Okay.
and then I think it'll be good for her in
Because
April.
they try to get me back to my little panel sharing.
They are now hot. So they are saying
This,
I'm just gonna stop sharing. Oh yeah,
here,
yeah, stop sharing.
here, like we've sent payments a month ago.
All right, there you go. Sorry. We can fix this. Okay. Okay, so back to shifts. So to make a new one, you click on the little hamburger menu up here, and then click down at the bottom where it says new schedule. Did I miss something?
Like being slow.
Oh, sorry. And then pick the team that you want to create a shift schedule for. So we're gonna make one for test. It's gonna ask you just a few basic questions to make sure that it's using the right time zone, things like that. And then you just click confirm. It's this part's super easy. And then you'll notice now I have a separate shifts for this. And if I click here, see now I have two. All right, so this goes along with that particular team. So you can have one per team, but then you can also, see how this only has one group? Now I can add multiple groups down here too. So, I mean, what's the right way to do it? This is kind of back to early SharePoint 101, right? Like, what are we trying to accomplish? What can we do? What's the best way to architect it? And I also want you guys to know, since this is fairly new, it's probably going to change. For the most part, I think the architecture underlying it's going to stay pretty similar, but it'll probably change a little. So if you go through and kind of architect a little bit, just kind of be flexible with what might happen. But there's really no right and wrong. It's just a matter of being able to do it. All right, last piece for shifts is to manage the settings. Up here at the top, once you're inside of the shifts, there's a tab up at the very top that says settings. So you can do a few different things. So this allows you to choose whether or not your employees can view and request open shifts. If you don't want them to do it, if you only want to push out shifts, you can turn that off, which is a really nice feature. That way people can or cannot do it. You can add custom time off requests. So if you want to allow them to request sick time, or if you want to call it a holiday or whatever, I don't know. But you can add custom options down here. So you just call it whatever you want. If you don't like the options that are there, you can just throw them in the trash can. It starts you with some basics, but you can kind of pick what you want. There's a brand new feature that just came out a couple of weeks ago called time clock. And what ends up happening is it lets people clock in and out on their phone through the mobile app, which is super cool. And then, so for each shift that you set up with a team, you have to click that begin setup, because it's going to ask you a few questions. And one of the questions is, are people allowed to clock in and out if they're or if they're away from where they're supposed to be? So can I clock in the parking lot before I walk into the building, or do I have to be within a certain distance from a GPS location to be allowed to clock in, depending on what your needs are? It's kind of a cool feature. So it'll walk you through some setup for that. All right, so that's kind of high level overview for teams. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Like I said, I could do a whole presentation on shifts in and of itself. I just think it's super cool. I think it's filling a huge need in the business that has not been there for a long time. We've used Excel spreadsheets all day long, and there's really not a lot of great applications anyways that fill this gap. I know, because I work with a lot of clients that are like, we've been reviewing, and there's really nothing out there that's that great anyways. So to be included in Office 365 as part of the lineup for free, we're gonna call it included, right? Included in the cost, is really nice. All right, so that's a little bit about shifts. The next one I want to talk about for a couple minutes is Planner. You guys might know a little bit more about Planner just because it's been around a little bit longer. People play with it a little bit. All right, who's heard of Planner? I see more people, right? All right. So Microsoft Planner is really designed to be a team and task organization tool. People are like, well, is it project light? It serves a different purpose, right? So sometimes we have something that we need to do and we want to keep track of it. It maybe doesn't have the maturity needs or the overwhelming needs that we use project for, because project can get pretty complex and complicated. Sometimes project is a job in and of itself, right? We just really want to track some stuff. Like, that's all we need. But a SharePoint list maybe isn't quite enough, right? So we've got SharePoint task list, and then we've got project. And it's really like nothing in between, right? So Planner fills the gap kind of in between a SharePoint task list and Microsoft Project. It's kind of like that nice in-between spot. So it's designed to be a team and task organization tool. Look at me putting brand names in. It's very similar to something like Trello, right? Got kind of a similar feel to it. You can do things like create basic plans, do some basic tasks, assign tasks out, keep track of the status, things like that. You can share files, just like you can in Teams, right? So Planner and Teams, I'm going to show you kind of how. There's some different ways you can use it. They work. Planner can work independently on its own, or it can also be used as an integration point with Teams. All right, either way. Okay, so you can do one or the other. You can have what's called boards or buckets, right? So you think about like a Kanban board, or just putting piles of things where you can pull from the bucket, right? Similar in concept to a Kanban board. You can create task lists, and you can create subtasks, which is a really nice thing, because you can do that in SharePoint task lists now in SharePoint Online, but it's still kind of goofy, let's be honest. All right, you can do true subtasks in here, which is really nice. You can also get automatic charts and graphs. You guys are gonna like this part. All right, does it for you. And you can also get an automatic calendar or schedule that goes with it. All right. So I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. Here's some things you probably need to know. Office 365 groups automatically have a planner that come with them. A lot of people don't realize that. So if you go into Planner and you see all these plans that are already created, it's because you have an Office 365 group and the group automatically generated a plan to go with it. So maybe before you start using it, go look and see if there's a plan for your group before you start making a new one. Just a thought. You can create, my Outlook's popping up, okay. You can create a plan from scratch that is not associated to a group or a team. It's really super confusing. Okay, so you can have a plan that lives completely independently from any other tool on its own, like an Excel spreadsheet, all by itself. Okay, and then you can manage that plan any way you want. You can add a planner tab in Teams that is either the planner that goes with that team or a plan that doesn't go with the team. And you can have multiple tabs for multiple planners. So let's say I have a really nice team, but I have 3 different events going on for that team. Maybe I don't want the planner for that team. Maybe I want a plan for this event, a plan for this event, a plan for this event. I can put those as tabs in my team that point to the right plan. This is where this kind of gets cool, all right? My whole thing is about hacking productivity, right? All right, so you can do that. The other thing is you can actually view your plan and tasks in Outlook. So this one it is already integrated, or integrating, kind of, sort of. Okay. All right. The other thing is there is a mobile app, which we'll talk about for Planner. All right. So if you guys, my clients can't even over it. So if you guys want to see how this works in real life, this is a really nice presentation. I put the link in here and I'll share this out. But it's a real world use case of using Planner to build a Death Star. So it's really fun and enjoyable to look at, but it actually walks through, here's what we're trying to accomplish, here's our team, here's how we use Planner to accomplish these tasks, and here's how we walk through the life cycle. So it's really interesting. So you can go see that. You can Google it too. If you Google Andre Valla and planning the Death Star with Microsoft Planner, it's a really nice presentation, but he walks you through more details because I don't have time to tell you details today. All right. So like I said, there is an online app. There is what's called the Planner Hub. All right. So inside of Planner, there is more of a managerial application view, and then there's also a mobile app. All right. So the Planner Hub itself, you can see from the Waffle Online, or you can see it from Teams. There is no desktop application for Planner that I know of. All right, so it's all completely mobile, nothing on your desktop. I hear that there's going to be a Windows app. It might have already rolled out. I didn't find the details on it, if anybody knows about that, but I think there's a Windows app coming. I just don't know if it's rolled out yet or not. I didn't have time to double check. So you can access it from the Waffle or you can access it from Teams. You can see all the plans that you have access to. So we're back to SharePoint site management, right? Planner's the same way. You see whatever plans you have access to either through a group, through a team, or given to you directly to that plan. All right. You can manage your plans there. You can view your boards, your charts, your schedules, and your members. I'll show you this all in a minute. All right. The mobile app is the same thing. The only thing is that it is accessible from Teams in the Teams app on the Teams tab, or you can see your planners in the Planner app. But the crossover stuff is the goofy part. Okay? So if you want to look at everything, it just kind of depends on what you're trying to accomplish, right? I recommend, especially with productivity hacks, that we do this context-based, right? So pick the place that your people are the most likely to go and the most likely to use it. If they're in their team all the time, put a tab in the team. If they're on their phone all the time and they don't go into the team, maybe send them to the Planner app, right? Find a context space that works for them. All right, so those are just some tips. Okay, let me show you what Planner looks like. So first of all, remember I said you can go to it from the Waffle. So if you guys don't know, office.com, like you don't even have to put anything else anymore. Just go to office.com. Done. All right. Oh no, there is no Planner button up here. Whatever will I do? Oh, look there, it popped up, right? Okay, so if you can't find the Planner app, all you do is click on Explore All Your Apps, or you can click on the Waffle and click All Apps. You can see everything that's out there, and you can find Planner. So if I can't find it here, then I can just scroll down. Another fun thing is if you want to know all the new apps that are out there you don't know about, click the Explore All Your Apps and just start clicking on all the apps because we have nothing else to do in our spare time. Okay? So all you do is go out here, find Planner, and then you'll see your Planner hub. So I'm going to show you this way first, and then I'll show you in Teams. So first of all, I see how I can create a brand new plan. Doesn't have to have anything to do with anything else. All right, I can create just a basic brand new plan from here. It's going to ask me what it wants me to call it. Is it public or private? And do I want to put a description? It's that easy to make a plan. It's that easy to delete them too. All right, so I can create a plan. I can look at all of the plans that I have available. So I can mark them as favorites. So remember how we can favorite SharePoint sites now? We can favorite items. You can also favorite a planner plan. One day. So I can favorite a plan right here. It'll tell me kind of the high-level overview of that particular plan. I can also see down here my recent plans that I've accessed, or all plans. This is where I'm saying if you have a plan that's been created by a group and you didn't even know it existed yet, if you go to Planner Hub and then you click on all plans, you're going to be like, wait a minute, how do I have 87 plans out here already? I didn't make those. It's all right, Microsoft is super helpful. They made it for you to go with your group. All right, so the plans are right out here and you can just click on it and start planning away. Over here, it's the same thing. This is the same exact thing, just in the sidebar. All right. So now let's say I want to go look at one of my plans. This is mine that I use for testing so you guys can see what this looks like. So for example, say for SharePoint Saturday, I want to put some buckets together of things that I can do. The buckets are these right here, and as you scroll, the very last thing is to add a new bucket. So those buckets can just go across, all right? And then within each bucket, I can have a task and check out how complicated this gets. All right, so I can assign it to a bucket. I can have basic task information. I can have due dates. I can have a really nice sub checklist in here. I love this part because I'm a big fan of checklists. I like checking things off, right? So I can have a checklist for every single task that's in here. I can add attachment files that are specific to this particular task. I can put comments in here. And then once you put stuff in here, you can actually assign it to people. So I can go up here and I can assign this to anybody that's in my Active Directory. They'll automatically pop up. And for you fancy schmancy people, we can even categorize it with stickies. All right, and you can give it a little label. You can say, you know, maybe this is something that's interesting. So now I can categorize it and have more information around it. All right, so you can add new tasks. You can add new buckets. You can manage your members. Remember, I told you can manage your members in here. So anybody who has access to whatever it is you want them to have access to. Back to that architecture planning. Who do you want to have access to what thing? If they're in an Office 365 group, if it's a private group, it's anybody who has access to the group. If it's a public group, everybody has access to the plan automatically. Anybody has access to the public site, right?
Does everybody have to be Office 365 user? Can I have somebody outside of my?
I believe you can have guest access in Planner. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You can have guest access in Planner.
You can have guest access to that whole group,
Yeah. Duh. Too many things in my brain today. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can have guest access to the group, so you can have guest access to Planner.
Sharon, did you create the titles for those categories? Or was it template?
No, I just went through and spun some of these up so you guys have some. I do this for all my when I do my demos on this. So to make those titles, you just do add new bucket, and maybe call it food, right? And then it just gives it. And then see how when you hover, everything's in context now. Like all the menus are in context menus. So when I hover over food, my little dots show up. And so now I can manage that particular thing. You're going to find this in all of Office 365. Everything's moving to context-based. Instead of having ribbons and buttons, when you hover over that particular thing that you want to do, you're going to get either a right-click menu or the ... or something like that, and it'll have options. So if you guys can't find the buttons, try hovering over things and look for either a drop-down or a ... because they're all in context. That's changing in a lot of their applications, especially the online applications. They're kind of all developing in that way. All right, so here's my follow star up here to add it to favorites. So once I get everything set up in here, once I assign my tasks, then once you have these, you can then give them a status, right? Things like that. Screen's too small. Okay. So then once I have all this done in here, this is one of the coolest parts about Planner. In my Planner Hub for this plan, I just click on charts. Check this out. I do Power BI, and Power BI is getting easier and easier and easier, to be fair. But the fact that I can just click on a chart button and it automatically gives me this high level view of where everything's at, what my status looks like, who's involved, what's open over here. I just think it's super snazzy. I really do. Super easy. Yes.
That's per bucket
That's, no, per plan. It's going to show you the whole plan. So see, these are all my buckets right there. So this is going to be a chart and graph for the plan itself. All right. And then the last cool thing that's on here is it shows me my schedule. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is it's going to show me my tasks over here. And if I have not given these dates, I can either open this and assign it a date, or I can simply drag it onto my calendar right here, and then it'll take it out of my non-dated tasks, and it'll automatically assign a date to it. So either way, right? You can look at it either way. And then once you get it in here, so see more in context menus, like now, hey, wait a minute, where did that come from? That didn't even exist. There was no buttons for that. Right? Now that I'm on schedule, check this out. If I click on the ... I have a lot more options. And one of them is to add my plan to my Outlook calendar. All right, so I hesitate to say fully integrated, but there is some playing with Outlook that's happening. All right, so now if I want to create this plan, get it all set up, and then add it to an Outlook calendar, I can just click that button and it'll push it out. All right, Planner's fun. I think you guys, any of you guys that do any level of task management for small projects or things like that, I just love it. I think it's cool. It's super easy to use. Okay, so one more. Let's see, what's our last one? Oh yeah, forms. Oh, maybe there's another one. Okay, so I got 15 minutes. So questions? Yes. No, you're fine.
I can't remember if you said planners within teams.
Oh yes.
Tasks to other people in the team.
I forgot to show you Teams. So inside of Teams, so you can create a planner on its own and work with Planner completely in the Planner app, right? Don't even have to go into Teams. But what you can do is you can go into your team, all right? Oops, let's find the right All right, so we can go into a team and you can actually just click on the little tab and planner is one of the options. And when you click on planner, it's going to ask you if you want to make a new plan or if you want to use an existing plan for this that's already assigned to this group. So because I already have a plan, I could use that, or I could actually generate a new plan that is not it's not the group plan, it's a separate plan, but I can show it in my team. So I can do that just by clicking that add button up there. It's the little plus on the tabs, and then clicking planner. That'll take me to add my plan. And then once I have my plan set up in here, this is actually the group plan that we were just looking at. It'll actually show it as a tab in here. And it works just like a little bar at the bottom. So it works just like it did in Planner, and I can still go in here and I can still assign it to the same. Whoever's in that group or that team, or if you added additional people, or if you just want to look for people, if they're in your, if they're set up as a guest. There he is. Okay, so I want to show you the guest too. So see how he was not on my list, but I have him set up as a guest. He's been a guest before, so he can show up because he's a guest in that particular group. Did that answer your question? Okay. All right, any other questions about Planner? I know you probably have a million, but okay. Microsoft Forms. I wanted to give you kind of just the spiel on Microsoft Forms because I know it's brand new and a lot of people have a ton of questions. So just wanted to talk about kind of what I know. And if I'm wrong, please somebody tell me. I'm telling you what I think I know, and I'm stepping out on a ledge because a lot of it's brand new. Wait. So Microsoft Forms, the free version of Microsoft Forms has been around, I don't know, a couple years. I don't know how much people have really been using it. Last year, it's been pretty decent, pretty solid. So Microsoft Forms has two versions, which we'll talk about. But this is basically just kind of what it looks like. It's super simple. It's similar to Google Forms, right? Everybody knows it, all right? Okay, so it is included in pretty much every version of Office 365, right? The free version of Forms is pretty much everywhere. It's even included in the personal versions of Office 365, which is actually kind of a big deal because you don't get a lot of the extra perks. But you can even use it on your free personal version, all right? Microsoft Forms is intended to be a lightweight, super lightweight. We're not getting complicated. This is not InfoPath, guys. We're not using it to replace InfoPath. Don't even try, all right? Not for the free Forms version, all right? The free Forms version is a lightweight, easy, super easy to use app where you can create surveys, quizzes, and polls, right? That's it. It's designed to be a super duper lightweight tool, kind of like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms. We're putting some questions out there, we're getting some responses, and we're putting them on an Excel spreadsheet. Like that is what it's designed to do. If you're wanting to do anything more crazy than that, this is probably not the right tool for you, all right? You are limited to basically the options of a basic form or a quiz. That's it, all right? You get those two options. And there's a few limits that these change. I've seen them change a couple times. I Googled it on Friday. I looked at the Microsoft limitation site on Friday. This is what it said, which I thought was interesting. I think they actually pumped it up a little bit, which is weird. So you're limited to 200 forms total per user. All right, so each user can make up to 200 forms. Each form can have 100 questions per form, but questions are not all equal. So for the most part, you can get 100 questions on a form, but sometimes if you do like the branching in the quizzes, sometimes those don't add up to 100. I've tested a couple of different use cases and they're not all exact, but it's 100 questions, 100 Microsoft points, right? Okay, 100 questions per form. And supposedly you can do up to 50,000 responses total per form. After that, you have to basically export it to Excel, delete them all, and then start again, all right? So these are just the basic limitations to forms. It's not horrible, it's okay. For being a free tool, it's not too bad. There are desktop and the online mobile browsers, you can use it. You can use it on your phone in the browser. There is not an app for forms. Okay, you have to do it either in the browser on your computer or in the desk or in the browser on your phone. Okay, that's the free version of Microsoft Forms. Okay, that's how super exciting it is. It's actually a pretty cool little tool. If you just need a basic form, send out stuff to people, get it back, get some responses, pretty nice. Here's what all the big hubbub is about. It's Microsoft Forms Pro. So as of July 1st, there's this new thing called Microsoft Forms Pro that's out in general availability. I don't know if you've gone to look at the sign-up thing that's in there, but like you can tell it's new because it looks a little different. So starting July 1st, it's a $100 a month add-on to have this. It's already included with most of your Dynamics plans. So if you have a Dynamic 365 plan as opposed to an Office 365 plan, you probably have Forms Pro included. Right? You don't have to pay for extra for it. If you have Office 365, it's available as an upgrade. All right, so you can use it that way. Now here's what I don't get. I don't know what they're trying to sell to me because I could do up to 50,000 responses before. But I can get a whopping add-on additional 2,000 surveys responses per month. That's not the cool thing about Forms Pro. I just think it's funny. Yes, 2,000 more. Okay. All right, so you get an additional 2,000 survey responses per month. You have to have a qualifying Office or Dynamics plan, all right, to be able to use the Forms Pro features. You have to have the right level of plan assigned to your account to be able to do that. All right. The cool thing with Forms Pro is that it supports more automated things. It's still not InfoPath, but it's kind of getting there, right? It does more things, and I think that Forms Pro is going to catch up with InfoPath at some point, to some degree, to do some things. All right, so it supports Flow, it supports email integration, it supports portal integrations, it supports dynamic integration, it also supports Power App integration. Right, so there's some cool things that are kind of coming with Forms Pro. So you can do things like automatically send surveys to customer when a triggering event happens based on information from something else. All right, so when we start talking about business process, this starts growing in there. So business processes are moving from front-end SharePoint. We talked about more like the dynamic space. Well, Forms Pro kind of in that gap a little bit. All right. It can also do automatic follow-ups to customer inquiries. So if somebody fills out a form, they submit it, you can set up an automatic response that then sends a follow-up that says, hey, thanks for responding. Can you please give me this information? And then automatically suck that in and put it into a database of some sort. Right? And then the last big thing is that the data is actually available real time. You don't have to export it to Excel spreadsheet and then pull it into Power BI and then build your charts and graphs. It's actually available in real time. And it can be viewed dynamically in Power BI. There's already pre-built-in modules for Forms Pro to Power BI. All right, so it's kind of cool. Yes?
If you're sending out a link to a form, I highly suggest using a TinyURL or bit.ly or something like that. Otherwise, it's
this long.
Longer than that URL at the bottom of the screen.
So I looked at this on Friday. I put these in here because it's just changing so fast. But these are the release notes for Forms Pro. So if you just want to see what it's capable of according to Microsoft, I'm sure this will continue to change over the next 6 months to a year as they fully release everything and keep adding on new features. All right, I'm going to show you Forms real quick. I've got like 5 minutes left. But I want to show you kind of what Forms looks like so you can have an idea. So same thing. If we just go to our waffle, oh, I can't find it. Let's go to all apps. And Forms is actually just an app that's listed in here. And I'm not going to show you Forms Pro today because we don't have time for that. But I wanted to tell you about it because it's brand new, and if anybody's interested, it's good to know. So this is how easy it is, guys. So see, another way to get to this is forms.office.com. Whatever subscription you're in can log you in. And then what will happen is if I've got a new form or a new quiz, I can just basically click on it, and it's really this easy. You just say, I want this type of a question. I want to have something special on it, so maybe I want somebody to fill in text. What's my question, right? What is your name? And then I can choose if it's required or not, and if it needs to have more room for extra text. Right? So it's not complicated, and you do this for every single question. Add another question, and then based on the things you do, it's getting smarter. So it's like, hey, you asked this question, so it's very likely you're going to ask these questions. Is this what you want, or do you want something else?
50,000 responses. Is that
Per form.
Well, there was 100 questions.
100 questions. Mm-hmm.
How does that react to the bump up against the 5,000 items per list?
This has nothing to do with SharePoint. It's completely separate from SharePoint. That's actually one of the nice things about it. It actually operates independently in its own world.
Where you might run into the limit is when you have a flow that runs against every simple response.
Yeah, there's a template out there that moves in like all your responses into a SharePoint list that way. And that's how I connect to Power BI without using.
You built Forms Pro for yourself.
The other thing that's cool about these forms is they're really simple and it comes with embed codes, so you can put them on websites, you can put them in OneNote, you can put them inside a video and stream. So you can have like the video play and the form pop up, they fill it in and they continue watching the video and change. Done a lot of that.
By putting in certain time marks.
You have a question on the chat
Okay.
asking if you can demo forms with Power BI principles and modules today or in a future topic.
I can do that in a future topic. We don't have time today, but yes. Yeah, I can build something and demo it.
And one other thing that I've used Forms for is supports like complex math equations. So if you want like the quadratic formula or any of those other equations you learn once and then never using it in there, then you can add all of those.
Nice.
So it's super simple. The big thing to know is that Forms is separate from Forms Pro. But if any of you guys have been using, this is my big thing to tell you, if you guys have been using Forms Pro as part of any of your subscriptions or you know anybody that has because it's been in beta and testing it out for free, they will start charging for that starting in July. If you want, you can call and get a 30-day trial. That'll save you a month of headache to determine whether or not you want to keep it or not. But after that, they're going to start charging you. So if you are using Forms Pro in any of the non-Dynamics tool sets where it's not free, just be aware they're going to start charging you for it. All right. I know we're kind of running out of time. If you guys have any other questions, I put my info up at the beginning. Feel free to email me. Otherwise, we're going to do prizes before you go. Thank you.
Since the recording is happening now, you want to put your slide up? Yeah?
Oh, sure.
So it's in the recording.
I can do that.
All right. So today we have more of our Microsoft Flow swag that we didn't give out a couple months ago. So we've got a couple of pins and a couple of the things you put on the back of your phone case or whatever.
The whole cards.
And then we have a soft insulated metal that is allegedly filtered. So, all the people on the phone, get your tickets out. You're not going to win. But you have won by simply attending. And we hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for attending online. For those of you in the room, whoever has ticket number 1476131 has won one of these. Awesome. Keep that one out so you don't win again. All right, let's go to a pin. And it's going to be number 1476140.
Dude, those pins are collector's items. You can hardly get them.
Pins are awesome.
You chase them down.
Be careful if you put them on your backpack. I more than once have scratched my fingers because the thing falls off. And then you have to dig to the bottom of your backpack looking for it. All right. Another one of the Flow phone case things. 143. Ends with 143. All right. We need to get stickers. We need to get stickers next time. His laptop, their laptops reminded me.
I
All
didn't
right,
bring any stickers.
flow button or pin, 6133. Right. That's a souvenir also.
There's trash cans for you.
All right, and for the cup, we're gonna go with this one right here. It is 1476 134.
Yay!
All right. Want to go first time?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Enjoy showing off your
Enjoy.
Microsoft stuff. All right, thank you guys for coming. See you next month. You know where to find me if you need anything in the meantime. Oh.
Is Jonathan
Oh.
make the announcement?
So we have another user group meeting on Thursday. It wasn't on
Wednesday.
our Wednesday. It's the 11th, right?
Yes.
Thursday.
That'd be
Oh,
Thursday.
Wednesday. In the back of the card, John. Just read the card. Anyway, I've got a
All right, let's read the
card
card.
here. We need eccentric training for anyone that wants to also get a little more informed.
Second
about
Wednesday of the month.
topics we're talking about. I heard you were going to be showing up because I missed this presentation. I had to get my battery charged.
All right, so according to the card, it is the second Wednesday of the month at Centric from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Oh, that's different than the one that we were talking about.
Okay.
So there's one at Centric at 11 o'clock on the other.
Mickey's like,
That
or something on the
is
11th?
that's centric.
oh, that's
That's a
different.
Centric
Okay.
Lunch and Learn.
The lunch and learn. So lunch and learns are different than we have the user group.
Yeah.
Ah, thus the
We
confusion.
do a lot.
All right, this
We
week
have
is a
an
real
international
busy
game
week.
developer group that just, they're having their first meeting tonight, if anybody's
So
interested.
Centric has more information if anybody's interested. They got things going on too. So you guys have lots of opportunities to learn, and I'll add those on for next time.
Okay, so we have a SharePoint Office 365 user group Wednesday evening at Centric, 6:30 to 8:30.
Is that the second Wednesday?
Yes.
Second Wednesday every month.
Yeah, so that'd be this coming Wednesday. Not to be confused with the
Lunch and learn.
Office
Lunch and learn.
365
Which
Lunch
are
and Learn,
periodic.
which is on the 11th.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
That's why I came back on.
If you have questions, just let me know. I'll do my best. All right, thanks guys. Have a nice afternoon. Thank you. For him, yeah. Uh-huh. I think you could use it for that. Oh, yeah, so you can just log in and log out.
Yeah.
So you just log in when you get there and log out.
Or if he's out driving for materials or whatever. I'll test that out. And that one had the app, right? Okay.
It's part of the Teams app.
But
So
I mean,
remember,
it has a mobile.
yeah, you just go into Teams and click on the shifts button.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Great, thanks.
It's a short commute.
Sorry. There. Hi.
Good.
Good.
Your first time, I'm first time.
Well, come
You
on
know,
in.
no, you weren't, so you don't get to do.
Well, I'm gonna introduce for capture.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? Oh, I remember seeing your
Yeah.
sign up. Yeah. Sweet.
Small world.
So once you come on, I add you to my ongoing list of, I'll just send you updates about all the events. And I'm putting together a newsletter right now, my first newsletter. It'll have basically all the information in it. I'm sure you're on that list too. Even though I'm not done.
Okay.
I try really hard. But yeah, that'd be great. If you need, there's something.
Just general office.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're interested, just send me an email and say
Oh,
how you're interested in participating, and I'll add you to my list. Okay. Yeah, I can't go to Inspire. I already committed to teaching class.
Right.
What? Awesome. Yeah, I'll follow up and we'll see how you want to interact with the Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.
No, see your.
No, she's sticking around. What's up?
You brought your friend, exactly.
I'll talk to her after you.
The name for that.
Yeah.
So my.
Nice. Where are you from?
Originally Florida, yeah.
Well, we're all trying to see.
Right, we're all trying to.
It's awesome. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I think the complementary things would work together. Where it is.
So do you work here?
In
Where do you work at?
Innova right now,
Oh,
I take all the companies that are independent contractors. Innova as a contract.
So you're subbing for Innova?
Well, I'm representing Innova, but I represent myself as team.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yep, we're all good.
No, you're the new
I'm here.
Innova person.
I'm trying. So,
Long
and then it's trying.
He does try.
Is it continuing to try?
He's a nice guy. He's really. I'm just. I've known him.
Well, I like, but this is where I've been at.
No, that's great.
So it's just.
And I would love for you guys to participate as much as you want. Innova usually sponsorship for Saturday. I don't think I've heard anything yet. I'm really.
I was just talking to you about this, the shifts with this happening. I'm right there with you on it. That's just the world that I live in. It's not an expense, it's now my community, how I can help them to understand that teams is a different, it's like officers and society people that look at this way. When you're in teams, it's like, you're really just supposed to be only doing these things.
Yeah,
You're only
exactly.
putting your team of people together to talk.
Yes. Deconstruct somebody else and do it how you play.
Don't let your brain go into the smart people you are. If it's in teams, like, I'm gonna dumb it down.
Yes, exactly. No, yeah, I'm a big fan. I feel like there's plenty of opportunity for plenty of people. I'm just trying to kind of keep things running. I know a lot of people have been doing this for a long time.
Then I know no one, and I haven't done anything.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you came. Yeah.
Man, the large one.
Yeah, no, just shoot me an email, give me your information, let me know how you guys want to play, and I would be going into. But yeah, thanks for coming. Nice to meet you. Yeah, welcome to Crazyville, Kansas City.
Crazy town.
So yeah, it was 60 materials, and then even on your thing. Like it's so I was an admin or either was an executive.
Is there an actual somewhere that I can
Yes. They already used it. They did not have it. I thought about doing contracts. But then I was like, actually, I was honest. I'm trying to make sure. They changed the resume, but they asked me, they said, hey, position. And I said,
I would love it there because then I do teach.
Websites and marketing. I know how to travel in our team. She took on the project.
I saw her pop out.
She did a weekend there. I had to try to.
Hey, let's think.
She did it on, like, she put that.